Welcome. Today I will be paraphrasing, summarizing, and sharing for the January 23rd Al-Anon readings in Courage to Change and a Little Time for Myself. We'll begin with a serenity prayer and 3 mindful breaths. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. I opened right to it. I'll take a minute to look this over. The question of the day is, what experience, positive or negative, inspire me to let it begin with me? This is a difficult passage to read. The passage begins with the slogan, "Keep coming back." So this person relocated from one city to another and noticed a big difference in how they were welcomed to their Al-Anon meetings because of their race. They experienced other members wiping their hands after holding their hand, devaluing their shares, and ignoring this person at Al-Anon events. That hurts my heart. It goes on to say that this person, after much prayer and meditation, had a spiritual awakening. They decided to improve their spiritual awakening, that they would let it begin with them, as far as understanding that everyone in Al-Anon has common interests, such as the steps, traditions, concepts, and service, common belief in a higher power of our choosing, and a common goal, which is recovery from the effects of alcoholism. Today's reminder is giving thanks to our higher power for all of our experiences, positive and negative, which help us to hopefully, it doesn't say hopefully, but to welcome and give comfort to families of alcoholics. The quote is from Hope for Today, and it says that we strive to let it begin with me, which is what Al-Anon is really about. So what experiences inspire me to let it begin with me? First of all, I hope I've never made anyone feel like this person explains how they felt. I hope that is like my worst nightmare. I would never want to make anyone feel like this person describes in this reading. It just, it hurts my heart. What inspires me to let it begin with me? Well, can't think of anything right now. Or I can actually think of several things, but I'm not sure it applies, and I'm not sure how I would explain it. Um, so the thing that's coming to the forefront of my mind right now is is so I'm having a hard time because I'm trying to make the connections to see if it really fits, but I'm just gonna explain it. And if it doesn't fit, it's okay. If it doesn't fit, it's not the end of the world. So reading this passage really brought up a lot of feelings for me because I don't want anyone to ever feel that way because of anything that I might do, any kind of action that I might take, which in itself appears to be a reason that I would not probably make someone feel that way because I am so sensitive to someone feeling that way, and my goal is to never make anyone feel that way. So, and why is that? So then I went back to my childhood and my dear mother who loved me so much, and I loved her so much, but who had a very difficult upbringing, was an adult child of a sexually abusive alcoholic, and had many mental health challenges herself. The way she parented me was to the very, very best of her ability, and I never doubted that she loved me, except that I knew that things weren't right because she would say such harsh and degrading things, and she would get so angry, and I would never be able to tell when or why. And in fact, many people asked as when I was older if my mother was indeed an alcoholic. And I never saw my mother drink. So I have absolutely no reason to believe that my mom was an alcoholic. I would be shocked. But I say this, I have a brother. My brother got the same treatment from my mother. In fact, his might have even been more harsh because of her difficulties with males. She had difficulties with men. So as my brother got older, their relationship was much more difficult, I think, for my mother to manage, and she was not kind to my brother. She wasn't. It's heartbreaking. I know she did the best she could, but all that to say that I made a decision when I was young to let it begin with me. I didn't know what Al-Anon was. I didn't know what the slogan "Let it begin with me." But basically, what I did as a child was, feeling that gross, disgusting feeling. I made a promise to myself that I would not do that to other people. That I didn't like it. I never wanted to behave that way, and I never wanted to make anyone feel the way that I felt when I was treated that way. And so that's what I can think of at this moment as far as let it begin with me. I'm sure there are lots of other examples, more recent. Just being like, for example, like just being positive when I'm sitting with a group of people and things are getting negative, just to say something, not over the top optimistic, but just like something a little bit uplifting to kind of get out of that muck, because you know how that can happen, especially, I don't know, where I live in New England, it's very, very cold. A lot of people are sick, and it's just easy to, when we get together with friends, that it just goes, it just it just seems it can go downhill real fast. and to not get too caught up in that, and to kind of bring it back to a more level space where it's not so heavy, where there's some lightness. That's a let it begin with me moment, focusing on something good that we can control rather than something fearful, which is fearful because it's out of our control. And we don't have to be afraid. We just have to trust. We just have to trust. And for me, praying, meditating, and just asking my higher power for help, for guidance. And that's it. So that's what I've got for that. Felt like a mouthful. And it was. In my head, it was a lot. Because, just reading that just it hurts my heart. All right. I'm going to read this. And it'll just take me a minute. All right. So this passage starts off with quoting step 3, which is, quote, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him, unquote. And just as a reminder, God, you don't have to call it God, you can call it higher power, you can call it anything you want. It doesn't have to be a him, it doesn't have to be a her, it doesn't have to be an it can be anything that works for you, and it can change. You can change your mind. So that being said, this person talks about having a hard time making decisions, not knowing which way to go in certain situations, letting other people make decisions for them, not taking responsibility for making their own decisions, not being accountable. And then they say that the order in which the first 3 steps are written helps overcome a lot of this indecisiveness. So first, admitting the inability to control the disease, and admitting that their life was unmanageable. Next, believing in a power greater than themselves. And then they made the enormous decision to trust their life to their higher power's care, which is so beautiful, which I'm always striving. I want to say I'm always doing it, but if I did it, then I never would have a worry or a fear, I don't think. So I'm still working on it. But it does give me great comfort and solace always. Today's reminder is to start each day with the decision to turn our will and our life over to our higher power. And that helps us to accept the reality of our lives, to move in a healthy direction, to live a good life and love those that are in your life. And the quote is from Paul Tillich, maybe? So we have the courage to be free when we make decisions, when we're careful in our decision making. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. We make the best decisions that we can with the information that we have available at the time, and then we give the rest to our higher power. And whenever I say that, it makes perfect sense to me. But it's like I have to keep being reminded that I'm always doing what I think is right at the time, based on the information that I have. And then whatever happens, happens, and I deal with it. And really, it seems like, some people just know the right thing to do and it always works out for them, but that's comparing my insides with other people's outsides. And I don't think it's really true for anybody. Nobody ever gets everything right. And that's a completely subjective comment anyway. So who knows if people are getting what they want? How do people even know what they want? People think they know what they want, but then they get something else and it turns out even better than what they thought they wanted. So, and that's me. That's me. I say people, I mean me. Because that's all I know. All I know is my own experience. That's all I can share on my experience, my strength, and my hope. So we'll close out with the serenity prayer and 3 mindful breaths. Here we go. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Sending you love. Take care.